Welcome in, Rascals and Raiders, step right up. Today, we are diving into one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in Arc Raiders, because the deeper you dig into this world, the more clues begin to stack up. Shredders left behind in human labs, satellite trains drifting across the sky, machines falling from orbit in perfect formation, and an Exodus ship poster that may hold more secrets than anyone first noticed. So the question becomes, what actually happened during the Exodus? Where did the people who left Earth go? How far did they travel? And why do the Arc machines return in waves that seem deliberate and more refined each time? Today we're going to walk through every piece of lore the game gives us, the Collapse, the Exodus, the Sunrise, the first and second wave, all of it. And once the stage is set, we're going to look at the evidence that may point towards where the Exodus survivors went, and what may be sending machines back towards Earth now. But the picture this evidence may be pointing towards is far more intriguing than anything I might have first imagined. So take your seats, ladies and gentlemen, because it's time to look behind the curtain. I managed to conglomerate a massive amount of lore, not just from the Codex, but from some other sources, and there's a lot to go over, so I'm going to try to keep it quick. If you all would like a full, detailed lore and history video of Arc Raiders in the Rust Belt, let me know in the comments down below. But to begin with, we need to talk about the Collapse. The Collapse happened many generations ago. It was an environmental catastrophe that escalated worldwide. It involved megastorms, forest fires, floods, and earthquakes. Cities were swallowed by sand, water, and ruin. Civilizations splintered into isolated survivor groups, and knowledge fractured into myth and rumor. During the Collapse, the Exodus period happened. There was a small number of elites that were able to flee Earth, with launches occurring from Alcantara Spaceport. Stellamontis handled ship research and development, rover tests, medical labs, and assembly lines, while Manticore provided military protection for those with launch slots. The Exodus ships use rotating ring habitats for long-duration travel. Their design implements interplanetary or deep solar system range, but not interstellar. And even though these elites might have been responsible for the collapse of the world, they left and disappeared into the dark. After the Exodus period, we get to what is referred to as the Deep Collapse. The Earth continues to deteriorate, survivors live through generations of chaos, buried cities like Murano become forgotten, and human society shrinks to scattered tribes and ruin. Then we reach the Sunrise era. Eventually, survivors are able to begin rebuilding. Alcantara Dam becomes a hub for food research and hydroponics. Hydroponic domes, reclaimed tech, and early infrastructure are set up during this period of time. Pockets of organized life return, and a fragile new beginning seems to be underway. Then we get to the first wave. Suddenly, machines begin falling from the sky. Early Arc units are crude and unrefined, but it still leads to 10 years of fighting. Raiders form to defend humanity, and Victory Ridge ends the first wave. The machines vanish, and humanity rebuilds again. Then we reach an unsteady peace between the waves. There's several years of stability where Speranza is founded in underground ruins, Toledo expands into separate contradas, the tubes are repurposed from Exodus construction tunnels into transportation systems, pneumatic field depots are used to study Arc crates, and security starts to monitor surface threats. This is also the period of time where Raiders start to become territorial as survival titans. Then we reach the second wave and present day. The machines return with better coordination and stronger designs, orbital drop behavior is visible, satellite formations are seen in the sky, and Raiders are forced to scavenge Topside against this horrifying threat. This is where our current era begins, and this is when our players enter the battle. Okay, I gotta interrupt the video real quick. You guys are amazing, and I gotta just say thank you real quick. The last video that I posted peaked at number 47 on the global hype leaderboard. I don't think you guys understand how much that means to me. You guys are amazing. You are making my dreams come true. Thank you all so much. It means a lot. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to stick around. Like, sub, hype the video. Let's see if we can do it 2 weeks running. Let's get back on that leaderboard again. You guys are amazing. Thanks so much. Back to the video. Before we can move on to the rest of the video, it's important that we have a rough understanding of the timeline of Arc Raiders. Present day is set at 2180, and we know that the second wave began 10 to 20 years ago. We know there was a short break in between the first and the second wave, and we know that the first wave lasted about 10 years, so if we clump that together, that's about a 30-year period. Beyond that, we know that there was many generations between the first wave and the collapse of humanity, and if we do some really rough apocalypse flavored math here, let's say a generation's about 20 to 30 years. Obviously there's overlap, people live longer than that. but let's say that's roughly 3 to 5 generations. That's going to put us somewhere around 2080. That is very approximate, but we're just working with what we got here. But it's important that you understand the timeline so the rest of this video makes sense. Now, for those of you who pay attention, you might have seen this Exodus ship poster up around Stella Montis. It shows ringed habitats for artificial gravity and long duration habitation, but definitely not multi-century. We see no evidence of exotic propulsion systems. We see an industrial modular design. Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but I did do some research for this video and did my best to try to get a rough grasp on what this rocket system would be capable of and how far it could have reached in the time periods it had available. If you're knowledgeable about rocket science and you want to correct me in the comments down below, feel free. I would super appreciate it. This is just the best that I can get at here. So from my understanding of what this design implies, it is using a high efficiency, long burn engine, but it's probably using something relatively similar to what we have accessible now, maybe just a little bit more advanced. If you look closely, the game mentions an item called an ion sputter. Most of you probably found one. In real physics, sputtering is a surface effect when energetic particles knock atoms off a material. Real space propulsion today uses ion engines or plasma drives that accelerate ions to produce thrust. In Arc Raiders, ion sputters seem to be the game's way of referring to a fictional high-energy ion plasma system, something that may be more advanced than modern ion thrusters, but still grounded in real plasma physics. Now again, I am not a rocket scientist. This is just the best that I was able to conglomerate information and get something readable out of it. It seems like they're obviously going to have something more advanced that's going to be able to go a little bit faster than what we have currently. But if we look at current speeds accessible to humans and amp that up even like 2 times, there is a 0% chance that anybody made it outside of the solar system, which means that the survivors from the Exodus period are floating around our solar system somewhere if they're still alive. Now that we've laid down the groundwork for the whole video, I feel like we can actually get into the meat of the bits, which is talking about where the humans went when they left during the Exodus period and what some of the potential possibilities are for their destinations. If we look around our solar system, which is again where it seems like these Exodus humans ended up, it seems like they did not make it out of the solar system. There are several potential options that we can look at. First on the list, I would like to discuss some of the moons. Obviously, there's a chance that humans ended up on Earth's moon. I don't think it's as possible. It is super close, and it does mean that it's an easy destination, but there's basically no survivability there besides a research station and potentially a staging point to move farther. Beyond that, there are multiple better options theoretically, especially with some theoretical future technology that's a little bit more advanced than what we have right now. There is Titan, which orbits Saturn. It's possible because it has thick nitrogen-rich atmosphere, which offers natural radiation shielding. The surface is loaded with hydrocarbons. There's water, ice crust, and a possibility of oceans underneath, and a stable temperature for machinery and long-term infrastructure. So it's a potential chance. Obviously, again, these are all just going to be potentials as I go through the list. But the narrative fits for Titan. It is a place where Exodus survivors could slowly build an industrial base far from Earth's reach. Next on the list is Europa, which orbits Jupiter. Why this one's a plausibility is it has a global subsurface ocean kept warm by tidal heating. It has an ice shell which provides perfect protection from radiation. Liquid water is the #1 survival resource here, and it would be easy to build hidden underground or under ice habitats. Narratively, this could fit if the Exodus wanted secrecy and wanted to hide somewhere that even if humans re-access telescopes, they couldn't find. Next up, we've got Ganymede, which also orbits Jupiter. Why this one is plausible is the largest moon in the solar system. It has its own magnetic field, which is unique amongst moons, and it has lower radiation exposure than Europa. The surface is stable enough for large-scale infrastructure, and it has abundant water ice. This fits the narrative because Ganymede provides room, resources, and stability for longer-term colonies. Up next, we've got Callisto, which is another moon of Jupiter. This one is plausible because it's got low radiation levels, is extremely geologically stable, it's got tons of ice and raw materials, and is often considered the safest Galilean moon for colonization. This fits the narrative. If the Exodus wanted a simple, reliable, long-term settlement, Callisto is the low-risk option. Up next, we've got Enceladus. Sorry if I butchered that one. This moon orbits Saturn, And this one's plausible because it's got global oceans under thin ice, giant geysers shooting water vapor into space. Fuel and oxygen production is incredibly easy. It's a very small body with low gravity, which would be easy to maneuver around. Ideal for ship construction and refueling. This fits the narrative because Enceladus works perfectly for a small but high-tech hidden colony producing arc units and fuel. One of the other chances is that humans did manage to reach the Oort cloud, which is a much farther reach. It's almost 0.03 light years away, which means that it would just be a much larger travel period for humans, and it would mean that there would be the requirement for higher tech engines. This is much more hidden from Earth. It has abundant resources and would be ideal for large-scale machine manufacturing. The Exodus ships could possibly reach the Oort cloud, and this would make sense as satellites are arriving back to Earth, since humans would be sending satellite arc stations from the Oort cloud every couple years. Now, when I say satellites, you might be wondering, right, what are you talking about? And what I'm referencing is the Starlink-style satellite trains that are visible on certain maps and certain map conditions. They move in a synchronized orbital pattern, they're visible even in daylight, and they appear to be arriving, not launching, and just staying in orbit. This suggests active deployment from off-world rather than on-world, and this implies that the Exodus survivors may be sending satellites, relays, and arc carriers into Earth's orbit. This means the machine's supply chain may be still active today, and confirms an off-world presence, which strongly implies that survivors are close enough to send shipments regularly, even if it's only in several year intervals. There is also a chance that these satellite trains that we're seeing potentially aren't satellites and instead are space stations. I remember when I was younger, I was able to see the space station that orbits Earth with a naked eye, so it is a chance that we're looking at space stations, not actual satellites. This means they're potentially maintaining orbital factories and could redesign Arc without ever going into deep space, and the satellite trains match orbital deployments, which explains the rapid Arc response times. Now, I think it's important that we come back to our timeline for a second. If we look at the end of the first wave, there was a several year period, which again, several is vague, but I'm going to assume that's less than 10, probably more than 5. This means that in a 5 to 10 year period, Arc were redesigned into the second wave and then redeployed from wherever the Exodus humans are. Obviously, they could have potentially already been in development during the period of the first wave, so then technically that means that we've got about a 10-year period for development, shipment, and deployment, which again, in my opinion, alludes to a slightly farther off grouping of humans probably located on one of the moons in our solar system. And this brings us to the question of, if the humans that left in the Exodus program are the ones that developed the Ark, why are they using them, and how can we be sure that it was them? One of the strongest forms of evidence that we have that Ark is a human-made creation is the fact that shredders exist on Stella Montis, and that Ark in general is on Stella Montis to begin with. Inside the lore, while I was diving and looking for information for this video, something that kept coming up is that Ark do not follow humans underground, and they seemingly don't function down there, which alludes to the fact that they might be getting programming and communication through some sort of radio frequency or something like that, so if they go below ground it cuts out. But also, shredders don't appear anywhere other than Stella Montis, and Stella Montis was locked by humans when they left, which kind of makes it seem like the humans left the shredders and other Ark at Stella Montis as a security force to make sure any other humans that stumbled upon it wouldn't be able to access it, and utilize the information there to follow the humans that left. This concept is further supported by the fact that Manticore was a security force for the Exodus project, and they were one of the main contributors to the usage of androids in the lore and the codex. Beyond that, we also see in the sandbox area in Stella Montis a couple little what looks to be basically Mars rovers that look like very, very early renditions of what could have become Ark. So if you combine the AI brain power from the androids and the physical durability of these extraterrestrial rover vehicles, you very easily could jump a couple steps over a couple decade period of time in open space and ship back a bunch of Ark. And I think that's rather plausible. So if there's evidence that humans are the ones that developed the Ark, then what is it that they were planning to use them for? Obviously, we could extrapolate that they're going to be used for protection based on the fact that a lot of them have weaponry attached to them, but then there's also things such as the Surveyor and probes, and then also the couriers, which seemingly just bring gifts to the raiders who are brave enough to go to the surface, which alludes to the fact that there's either multiple factions of humans out in space that have different goals, or that there's something more complicated going on here. I'd say this kind of really breaks down to a couple options here. Option number one, the humans are intending on coming back to Earth, and they're sending the arcs as a landing party to soften the beach, so to speak, and make it easier for their arrival coming back. Whether or not that means they're going to arrive and take out the big scary arc and make themselves look good, or they're trying to just not have any humans there when they arrive so they get the Earth to themselves. That's a possibility. The other thing is very likely they think that Earth is still uninhabitable, and they're sending these arcs there to test whether or not the atmosphere is habitable. Maybe they discovered that with the first wave and are sending the second wave as the landing party. There's also evidence that the arc occasionally kidnap people alive and bring them up into orbit, and this potentially brings up the idea that there is a possibility there is some sort of weird selection process happening where they are looking for the best of the best to bring and save from this world to a new place, whether or not it is for some weird egotistical rich person shenanigans, or if it is to bring new genetics into the space population, or whatever weird rich space people it actually is. There's a couple weird ways it could be, but generally speaking, I think the Ark are primarily a resource gathering mechanic for the rich individuals that are in space from the Exodus program, and then also most likely a culling method to make sure that the humans that are still alive on Earth don't get mad and come after them. Now, I know I may have asked more questions that I potentially had solid answers for in this video, but I think it's safe to say that we know a little bit more than we thought that we did. It seems that humans are surviving somewhere beyond Earth, but it seems that they did not leave the solar system. It seems there is a nearby colony sending machines, that there is a hidden industrial civilization in the moons or in the deep solar system. The Ark machines are tools of the humans that left in the Exodus process, not alien invaders. And this points to the possibility of humans returning to Earth one day, which has a whole lot in store for the lore if that's true.